Is the sheep preaching hate when he says, I'm not going to let the wolf eat me anymore? If the wolf comes in here, next time he comes in here, I'll do whatever I have to do to keep him off my back. Is the sheep violent or is the wolf violent? He wasn't teaching hate, he was teaching common sense. If somebody's knocking you over the head, stop them. Do whatever you have to do to stop them. The ones that were knocking him over the head were afraid of the fact that he might swing back. So they said, now he's teaching hate, he's violent.
Black skin, white mask. Already know that life gets hard. And they say that we're used to the harshness. If it wasn't for the pain, I'd laugh. Truth is, we knew about light before dark. Turned music to art and taught everyone to dance. There's still no chance. Freedom must be too much to ask. Bleeding from the ache in my heart. Sometimes I wish it was whites in the middle like France. No, I'm not racist, just jarred. Got hate before bush, not plants. They say we should leave it all in the past, but my brother's still dying on the end, so I can't. So if my attitude stinks, don't ask, cause a hashtag won't help you understand my stance. Fuck a melody, this is real rap if you ever see. Head hot, cause the system won't let me be. Tell me how I thrive in a place I don't cherish.
Yes, blessed love, people. I just thought I'd try a little something there. Good evening, good night. That was Blue, Bluue, and that's my baby. That's my middle daughter. She's 23 years old and she's absolutely brilliant. That was her tune right there. We're going to try and put some visuals to that. Tell me if you put up a one if you think that's a good intro for us. You know, it's kind of a deep tune. It's not specific, but I think it works. Let me know. Wow, what a week it's been, people. What a week it has been. Yeah, what a week it has been. So for those of you that don't know, what has crowded the topic that has crowded every conversation for the last 2 weeks has been about the missing children, the stolen children. Oh, brilliant. You lot love the tune. Check her out, Bluue. She's on Spotify, on YouTube and all of that. She's brilliant and support her. That's Baby Afua number 1, actually. This one is Baby Afua number 2 because they both share the spot as the wash belly, so to speak. Another story, different story for different days. I was going to cover something tonight, but you know what? I'm actually going to do it in a different way. You guys will see that in the new year, perhaps, or maybe even before that. Who knows? Put that one side. Well, for those of you that have not seen the bulletins and the updates, there is no march to Milton Keynes coming until further notice. The family have chosen to step back and to continue to fight in private, you know, to reflect and to strategize, basically. And we will be supporting them in the background, but that's what they've chosen to do at this time. And I hear that. Is it blurry, they're saying? Blur bad. I don't know what that is. Blue, Bluue. Bluue, Paula. Blessed love, all the moderators. Blessed love. So yeah, they've chosen to do that, and you know that's their prerogative, and I support that decision. I think it's the right juncture for them to actually take a step back and do that. It's out there. We know what's going on. We're not going to let it go. And when they need us again, we will rally again and we will stand with them. That's what's going on. And we continue to pray for the return of those beautiful children, which I've no doubt in my mind will happen. Yeah. So that's where we're at with that. I was going to deal with some of the idiot comments and whatever in the chat, but I cannot be bothered. We're winding down tonight. This is going to be the last show of the year, the last live of the year, because we all need a break, right? And it's a good time for everyone to just take stock of the year gone by and look towards the year ahead. So that's what we're going to do. And we'll be back in the new year, the first Friday of January. And we will continue. There's such a backlog of stuff that needs to be dealt with. And anybody that's awaiting a response, you will get that. But our inboxes right now are just jammed with just about everything. So please be patient. It's not that you've been ignored. It's that, you know, it's just hard. So yeah, if you're on the gram or Facebook, you would have seen the post that's been put up tonight. The post that's been put up a couple of days ago now. I can't even remember when I did it. Of a guy called Peter Wallace. You know, it saddens me that there's just so much that comes out of Brixton. I'm not denying for a minute that this was a problem around every single part of our community in the whole country. Of course it was. It could never be isolated to just Brixton. That would be ridiculous. But it does seem that it was more prolific in that area. And it's just an interesting conversation to dissect and try to examine why. I think there are lots of factors that contributed to that. Some of it can be size and just demographic, but there is something. There was a certain attitude that was coming out of Brixton towards women at that time. And this guy is no different. He's a convicted rapist. I haven't seen anybody on the page talk about evidence, so probably for that reason. Seems to be very well known to be into that sort of thing. And also his brother seems to be well known. I've discovered. I didn't know about the brother before until I started getting messages. So, less said about him and more said about this Peter Chemis guy. Peter Wallace. Well, apparently he is from Brixton, Oswald Tate. That's what I've been told. Until I've been told otherwise by the people that have approached me, then, or maybe he hung out in Brixton, who knows? That part is not even that significant. The point is that this man is a violent and dangerous rapist, convicted rapist. He's also a pedophile, and I'm going to allow a sister. She's got her name up. I can see her, so I say her name. It's Serena, and I'm loving the fact that she's got her camera in full flow. If you don't want that to happen, sis, you can put your camera off once you've jumped on. But I know that you're liberated today. That's cool. But she's going to tell her story about what he did to her and how she didn't get justice through the courts. And all the issues surrounding that. And we're going to have a chat about this guy. But he is a nasty, nasty piece of work. Very nasty piece of work, the things that he's done. A very devious man. And he's raped several people. I'll allow the sister to tell the story. We're going to bring her on, Serena. Hey, my sister, how are you? Blessed love, sis.
Hi.
Blessed love, sis. And big props for coming on so boldly as well, sis. I know that's a journey to get to that point with things, isn't it?
Definitely is. I think, when you do go through these things, it is a long journey of even just being comfortable to just be able to talk about it openly as well. I don't know, shall I get into it now?
Yes, sis, tell us your story, because what we do know about this guy is that he's a convicted rapist. He raped somebody before, and that kind of ties in with your story, doesn't it? But there's other people that he's raped as well that we've been told about since he's been up. And also the fact that, there are people, you're going to tell about the people that still support him and the reasons and all that sort of stuff. But he seems to be very well known in the community for this kind of thing. Before it's just unequivocal. No one has opposed it. Everybody's saying, yep, that's who this guy is. Maybe that's even a first on this platform.
Do you think so? He's very well known for that. He was well known for that back in the day. So, he was a DJ, and I guess he kind of used it to his advantage. It could be like dropping girls home afterwards. He would offer to drop them home, and then he would rape them afterwards. So there was sort of like a method to how he would do things. But I was very, very young, and I'd already heard, I was one of those children that was very observant, but I wouldn't say anything. I would stay out of big people conversation. I just knew to, but I knew to be very, very of this man, because I've heard people say stuff, like adult. So let's say I was 11 years old at the time, and he used to date my godmother. My godmother was best friends with my mother, and this guy was best friends with my stepmother. This guy was best friends with my stepfather. If that makes sense. Yeah. So they used to just sort of hang around together in a clique of four. He used to DJ. He'd go this place, that place, wherever. Anyway, my godmother would hold a lot of kiddie birthday parties and that type of thing, a lot of children's parties with bouncy castles in the back garden, that type of thing. And one night wasn't even night. It was broad daylight. But I was playing upstairs by myself, and he had come upstairs, and let's say I was sitting on the floor with my legs crossed, and he's standing behind me, going over my shoulder, and he was putting his hand down my top, fondling my breast.
And you were 11 years old at this time?
I was 11, yeah. I went through puberty very early, so I was quite big-breasted even when I was that age. So yeah, I was just going through the motions of puberty and stuff. And this old man is touching me on the chest and stuff. And bearing in mind, I was a very shy child as well. Like, I was very, very shy. You wouldn't catch me swearing at adults and that type of thing, but I was swearing at him. I was telling him, fuck off, fuck off. I kept saying this to him. And I'm trying to get away from him, trying to hit him. But what he had done, as he had dragged me into the bathroom by my legs. The bathroom door lock was a bit broken. So he's trying to lock it, couldn't lock it. My trousers were coming off because he's pulling while he's pulling me into the bathroom. I just kept kicking him, swearing at him, telling him to fuck off. And he just laughed. He just kept laughing. That's all I remember, is him keeping laughing. I'd literally went to turn around, and he was gone. I'd heard somebody come up the stairs. At the time, I didn't know who it was, but he obviously heard that person come up the stairs as well, and then quickly ran off. It was so quick. I was just like, wow, where's he gone? Then when I come out, I saw my mum. You know, like usually when there's parties, there's like a coat room. So my mum was in the coat room. It's literally opposite the bathroom that we were literally in. I came out straight away and told my mum. I just said to her, Mum, Pete just touched me. And she gave a sort of nervous laugh, sort of like, this guy. Like, she didn't doubt me for a second or anything like that. She asked me, what do you want to do? You know, like what do you want to do about it? And at the time, like, I was just, I was a little bit young and naive, so I just thought, those type of people you report and they go to jail. Unfortunately, that's not exactly what happened. It was a long case, and it was a very good case for it to go on for so long. It started at 11, and then it finished around about 12, 13 years old. So it went on for some time. There was no evidence to say that he had done what he'd done, because it's not like raped me. He just touched me. So there wasn't no traces left behind of what he'd done. So on that case, he actually got away. They let him off of it. And what I will say is, at that point, being 11 years old, having to battle judge and jury, and losing the case at that age as well, it changed my whole perspective of the world and the legal system. That's when I realized that, okay, they don't always go to jail. Like, the penny dropped.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah, but always in my head, I was thinking, yeah, like, you report them, they go to jail. That didn't happen. Anyway, by the time I was 18 years old, the police came back and asked me to be a character witness to put the same man away. Because he raped somebody else. So basically, they've used new DNA techniques to catch him out, basically. So he's probably done like a unrelated crime and got caught on DNA. So that was a whole case and everything. More women came forward as well. I was the first child to come forward, but there was like, I'm sure there was at least 2 women that had probably reported him before. Women, they were like, well, they were teenagers still, because they were like 19 in their 20s, that type of age. And this had happened before I was even thought of as well. This has happened in the 80s, early 80s. I was born in 87. You know what I mean? So this guy's been doing this for years, and he's only gone to jail for like, I think he got 4 years for that case, with everybody's help, of course. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really want to help the police at the time, because I was just sort of like, are you kidding me? You let this guy go, and now you need to come back to me at 18. disturb my routine after I've just gotten over it to help you again type thing. But then that was how I felt about it. But then it was like a split second, because I'm sort of like, I can manage to be quite level-headed, and I understood that it was bigger than me. It's not just about me, it's about other women as well that have gone through it and possibly like still going through it. God knows what he's been doing for all that time that he's been out. You know what I mean? You've only got 4 years. You've only gone away for 4 years, and that's only for basically one woman. But there's a bag of other women that you raped. So it's all good. All those types of people, they move on. And the people that get abused, raped and whatever, it stays with us forever. We've got to go through it. It breaks up families.
What would you say, sis, to the people that only seem to be interested in women that lie, and which is a very small percent of all allegations that are made. Very small percent of women that lie, by the way. Check out the statistics. But what would you say to people that want to focus on that and focus on how the lives of those men are wrecked, as opposed to the scores of women that experience what you have experienced?
They are a part of the enablement of these types of people. Like, and even now, like when I see some people on your page, like really going at you for calling out some of these nonsense or whatever it is, it just brings me back so much to even my court case. It brings me back to the enablers back then, who were happy enough to still go around him, was happy enough to still go to my godmother's house, happy enough to still take their child there. I even had aunties telling me, of course your godmother's going to stay with him. They've got kids together and stuff. So it really severed so many different families in different ways. Like, I used to be close to my godmother.
She actually testified like in his favor, didn't she? Yes,
she did. She stood up and said, no, he didn't do it. And she knew exactly what he was like. She knew he was on that. He'd done it God knows how many times, but he was happy enough to stand by a man. And back then, I used to think like, I used to be so angry at her. Because I was thinking like, you're meant to be like my second mum. That's how I used to look at her. I get along with you so much. But you've let me down so much because you're taking up for this man. Then, like I say, you go through different phases of it. Then I got older, and then I was sort of like, you know what? Yeah, she probably would stay with him. She's got kids with him. Why wouldn't she stay with him? What, just because of me? Who am I really? It's not like I'm a daughter or anybody of importance to her. So I started thinking that.
You started rationalizing that, like a lot of victims do.
Yeah. I started trying to rationalize other people's behavior. But now I'm sort of like, fuck him. You know what I mean? Like, nobody was thinking about me when he was touching me up or whatever it is. We could find out as well, there was another girl that used to live next door to my godmother that he also touched on the same night. And we only found that out just like a few years ago. So God knows how long.
There was another child. How old was that child?
Yeah. She was younger than me. So if I was 11, she must have been at least about 8 years old or something.
Jesus.
Because I was older than her. And she was very strange. Like, she used to follow me around the house. Like, I mean, she wasn't doing anything wrong, but she was just very clingy. I just knew something was wrong. She used to follow me everywhere and just kind of suffocating. But I feel like now looking back on it, she probably wanted to tell me something. Like, that's how I look at it now. That's probably why she was so clingy, or maybe she thought she had something in common. The craziest thing is as well, her mum didn't even believe her.
Oh.
Her mum didn't believe her until, obviously, I think my mum sort of spoke to her and said, told her what had happened with me, and then that's when she kind of believed it. Which I would never advise any parent.
Your mum's, sorry to cut you, sis. Your mum's actually trying to get on. I'm just gonna keep talking, keep talking, and I'm just gonna try and call while I cam up. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've just been. I say run fire upon all the fucking enablers as well, because they allow these types of men to stay in our community. It's like I've been asked a few times as well. It's like, does these new misses know that he's a convicted rapist and stuff? And I said, well, if she didn't know, she definitely knows now, because I was in a Facebook group and I saw it in there, and I called him out.
Right.
I called everyone out. And everybody was saying to me, do you think you should be calling out this lady? Like, do you think you should be calling her out because it's not her that's done something? And I understood there's always a method to my madness. There's a reason why I'm calling out this woman. Like, you're having a daughter, you're having a gal pitney with a convicted rapist. You need to know what type of man you're laying down with. And if you don't know what type of man you're laying down with, you do now because I've told you. But nevertheless, she still went ahead and married this guy. But what's new? When I was a kid, my godmother did the same thing. Yeah, I mean, a lot of women take up with these types of men. So, yeah, like
that's part of the problem, sis. It's part of the problem.
Exactly.
Yeah, the enablement. You know, that's equally as despicable. These women, the godmother. One might argue, and I don't agree with that, but one might argue that you know, she was already with him, she had kids, it was, you know, that kind of situation, and she didn't maybe fully understand or know what was going on. She had an inkling, but she was in denial. Let's just say that. But when it comes on to this new wife, with all that has been said and done and passed, and she has children, what the hell could this woman be thinking?
I don't get it.
I don't get it. I think Angor said it very well. Some of these women are damn Wallace. Thank you, Angor. That's so true. That's so true. I'm sorry. You know, mate, I don't know if this woman is being controlled. I don't know if that's what it is. If it is, then, you know, we pray for her. But really, I don't understand it, sis. I don't have words.
Yeah, I don't understand it either. I mean, part of me wonders if it's like fear. Because you know, he's acting like that to strangers. You bet that he was doing that to my godmother. He wasn't treating her good. That's what I'm saying. So
I think a lot of it is these women are not happy. They're trapped in abusive relationships because they're with an abuser. Do they expect not to be abused as well? No. You know,
sometimes it makes me wonder though, do they really expect to not be abused? I don't know, but he's old. He's old now. That's all I know. He's not spring chicken anymore.
People who've got this issue of just abusing anybody, especially women, men that abuse women, they're so much stronger physically. So for you to pick up your big man fist and base it in a woman's face, unless she's really presenting that type of threat to you first, because I'm not saying that some women don't need to be put down, because they do. Understand me? I've seen it.
Exactly.
So I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is that, you know, when you've got an innocent woman that isn't doing anything apart from running up her mouth, probably, if at all, because the real abuse is women that are quite meek, that have been broken down first. You know, those real proper perpetrators, they break the woman down to a point where she doesn't feel able to respond or to challenge, and then they come with the first clap, and then it never stops. So they have a strategy, you know.
That's why it was a bit tricky for my mum's situation to sort of, like, it was hard for her to get out of the situation because she was in a domestic violence type situation when I was a kid. So there was only so much that she could even say or do. You understand? Like, and my stepdad, he even liked me either anyway, because I wasn't any child. So when I actually got sexually abused at the time, I didn't really feel like he gave a damn, especially because it was his best friend as well.
Right.
And because I wasn't really his child. So, I mean, that shouldn't be a reason. Like, a real human being would still have compassion. Yeah, I mean, but not everybody is the same. Yeah, not everybody's the same. And that's where the enablement comes in, because it's easy for people to turn a blind eye and say, oh, do you know what? Well, it's not my child. But what if one day it is your child?
Well, that's when they usually reach out, or they want the same sort of justice or whatever as anybody else, isn't it? But unfortunately, we've become so insular within ourselves, and it's so Eurocentricized as well, that we no longer look out for our brothers and our sisters. We no longer do that. There is no community. When we talk about the Black community, there isn't one really, is there? We're completely diasporized. You know, even in the diaspora, we're diasporized. So we no longer live in large clusters in communities anymore. We're spread out. So that's the first thing. You just don't see that anymore, you know, due to some extent.
Yeah.
But not the way that it used to be. And so therefore you've got a dispersing of the people, you know, all that holds that as a foundation is going to get dispersed with it. And we're very broken as a people.
Exactly.
That's why we see the sort of displays that we've seen. But at the same time, I feel like there is a hope, because we are also becoming more vocal. And I feel like this movement has definitely given voice to the Black community.
I think so. That's why I like what you're doing as well. Like, I see you get some stick sometimes from people.
It is what it is.
Yeah, but like you give people, like, especially like me or other people that have been through it as well. Even though I did speak out at 11 years old, not everybody does speak out the first time. So in that sense, you're helping to support those people. You help to give them a voice. And it can be very frustrating when a lot is going on. Because somebody had asked me as well, like, about the situation. Like, it was like, wow, didn't you think it was going to mash up the family and all this type of stuff? I was like, yeah, I did. I had a split second of, oh, shit, this is my godmother's partner. Oh, shit, this is going to fuck up the family. Oh, shit. I was thinking about everybody else except me. Absolutely. And then I just said, fuck it, I need to tell my mum. Because me and my mum have always been close. So
that was the key factor. It was the relationship you had with your mum. That was the key factor in you being able to go straight to her and speak your truth. You understand?
I think so. I really do think so. Because
well done, your mum, for that. So many of us, and particularly in my generation, where there wasn't even a word for these kind of things. You could have never go to an elder, your mum, your dad, or anybody from that generation and tell them about that one of their friends was guilty of that. You'd be beaten majority of the time.
Yeah, I think that's true. That's why a lot of people, that's why there's so much stigma about saying anything about it as well these days, I think.
Still there though. It's still very much hanging over the community, that kind of thing. The enablement from certain partners, it's you know, it's reducing, but I would say that it's still there. We've certainly seen that with this campaign anyway. We've certainly seen that with this campaign. Yeah. Unfortunately, well, fortunately for you in some regards, there was no.
But I've had people threaten me and stuff. Like, I've had like weird people like tell me about, oh, mind what you're saying about people's partners and that, and I'm like, hold on a second, this guy's a whole rapist. What are you talking about? But the thing that actually really sort of disturbed me as well is that it's women that usually do that as well. It's women, and I would think, like, if you was friends with, like, if you're friends with his missus or his new missus and that, like, personally, if it was me and I found out my friend was dating a convicted rapist, I would have to say something. I gotta say something. I don't know, call me eggs up and mix up, but if you're my friend, I'm gonna let you know that you're with somebody that is convicted. They need to know, but other people seem to want to keep it stum. I had somebody tell me, oh, that was ages ago. I'm thinking to myself, well, I guess that makes a difference then, doesn't it? Not really, it doesn't. But people will make the most excuses. But I just think that the men that do this type of stuff, they usually tend to be quite popular. I don't know why.
I'm struggling to hear you, sis. My do you know what, guys? It's not my laptop that's playing up. I figured it out. I need to erase a few of the lives that I have stored on my StreamYard, because I feel like it's slowing it down. Anytime I put the StreamYard on, the whole laptop slows down while I'm on the stream.
You sound like a Dalek right now. I can't.
So I think you're breaking up, sis.
Yeah, well, you're breaking up.
I'm just gonna have to try and catch bits of what you're saying so that I can respond.
Sorry.
I know everyone else can hear, but it's weird. It's on the StreamYard thing.
It's going like all computerized, like kind of Dalek-y.
Sorry?
You sound like a Dalek. Like a computer.
You can hear me. Everybody can hear us, but I can't. That's it.
I can just about hear you.
I'd like to congratulate you, my sister, on your strength of character. I really do. And from what, from the story that we've spoken a bit, and from what I get from that is that even as an 11-year-old, you were super empowered as an individual, and you still are. You were assertive.
Trying to listen. Computer's messing up. Right. What was I going to say now? What did you just ask me? Can you hear me, Afua? Okay, it's gone a bit off. I'm going to come back in 1 sec here.
Oh, sis has dropped out. Oh, goodness. Maybe it wasn't the platform. Maybe it was the sister's coverage. Jump back in, sis, if you can hear me. What are we saying in the chats, people? I'm so tired. My people, I'm so tired. If you ever know, I've been up early every single morning this week, 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock, going right through. Oh, she's back. Lovely. Hey, sis.
Hi.
I can hear you again. That's brilliant. Maybe
Yeah.
that's jump on and jump off for me to hear you. Excellent. You were saying, sis?
I can't remember. Where was I?
Last thing I heard, you were talking about enablement. No, I was telling you that you were a very empowered 11-year-old. It's obvious that you were really assertive, and you still are a very assertive woman.
Yeah, like actually, to be honest, I feel like that situation has made me far more assertive. Like I was very shy back then, and even though I was shy, I feel like the relationship between me and my mum allowed me to be able to just tell her anything. It doesn't matter what it was, whether it was bad, good, anything. If she's going to get mad, I would tell her because we was close. So I think that helped. But I feel like going through that situation has made me far more assertive. You got to speak up. And I would urge like other females as well, like, or anybody that feels away, because sometimes it's not even like my situation. Sometimes it could be somebody in the family or something like that. They could be telling them, threatening them to keep quiet and stuff. But I would always urge a female to always speak out. Like, don't allow them to get away with it. Because all I kept thinking was like, I'm not gonna lie, like when he did it, I was just like, wow, you ain't got no respect. Like, I'm like, you know who I am? Like, you understand? Like, I'm as good as family and stuff. So I was just sort of like really shocked. I was just like, oh my gosh, like I can't even believe that like big grown men are doing this, putting their hand on people's children and stuff. So I was in a lot of shock. At the same time, God, yeah, like I lost a lot of faith in a lot of things. I'll just say that the system, everything. I started looking at the world very differently. I'll say that.
And it sort of affected you at school, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. I started getting very violent. I used to fight a lot at school, and I was always getting like in suspension, all that type of stuff. But now I can understand it a lot better now. Like I understand that, like because I've done counselling and things like that. I'm very self-reflective and stuff, and I feel like that helped a lot as well. I know a lot of black people, they're not really into counselling and all that type of stuff. But I did it. I feel like it did help. Yeah, like because it changes everything. How you interact with men, it breaks your trust as well. So there's a lot of things that you have to work through in order for you to be able to just
even the relationship that you might have with your child, it can change.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like that too. Like I'm a lot more, obviously, I'm very cautious. Like, and I've got 2 girls as well. So maybe, I don't know whether it's been a good thing that is giving me more foresight to these types of situations, or if I'm just going overboard. I don't know.
No, sis, it's a very natural response. With any survivor is super, unless it's a survivor that's affected in a way that they are ignorant and they're ignorant of the abuse that goes on for them, much less what goes around their child. Those
True.
people that have apologized in that way expose their children to it unwittingly
Exactly.
sometimes.
Yeah. Exactly.
But the flip side of that coin is those of us that are just super, super protective. And that's the majority of survivors, to be fair.
Yeah.
You know, there's a statistic that I was looking at recently, and it said that the average time between when a child is abused and when they speak out is from the time they turn 18 is 53 years old.
Wow.
She's my age now, right? Wow.
Yeah.
So when you hear these people saying, oh, you know, why didn't they speak up before? Or they just don't understand the complexities. They really, really don't.
Exactly. I really do understand why people don't come out and say anything as well. Like, even with my situation, I've done a lot of like conferences and that type of thing, and spoken out to young girls that may have experienced the same thing and that type of thing as well. So I'm good with speaking out about it. I'm very sort of blasé. I can, you know, when you've gone for that type of trauma, you tend to put it to the back of your mind and you learn to sort of articulate yourself way through it without being so emotional about it. You sort of look at it from outside the box instead of the inside. But yeah, at the same time, I've had a lot of stress. Like, I've had like trolls, people out there making up their own versions. Oh, your mum put you up to it, or like, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, you got kicked out because you got sexually abused, all these types of things and that. But to be honest, it really has sort of made me stronger. Like, it's given me such thicker skin as well. Like, and all I've got to say is to people that are doing that, you're the reason why women don't come out.
Absolutely.
I'm, at this point, I'm very assertive and very, very confident, and I am very outspoken and stuff. But I'd be lying if I said that I didn't have my moments where it was very difficult. I only feel like it's easier now because I've been through the hardest part of it. But the people that mock it, like sexual abuse and all that type of stuff, nah, it's never going to help. It's never going to help, ever. It's never going to help the victims come out. It's just the only thing it helps is the predators to get away with it. That's what it does.
I just find it interesting that because you're always going to have a mixed bag, right? So I just find it interesting that seems to always be the default position. The instant default position is they're lying.
Yeah.
You know, where has that come from? I can say it's generational. Yes, of course it is. But you just think, wow, like that's still prevailing in this generation. We've seen it with this His Time Is Up campaign. It is the absolute default position. And I just find that really interesting. I find it really interesting.
Yeah, I don't understand why it's like that. I'm still like, even at this big grown age, I'm still trying to understand why everybody takes, you know, they'll take up for a rapist before they ever take up for a victim. Absolutely. Or they'll call out the victim, slander her name, because I've had it all. Like, I've had people cussing me for thousands of comments talking about, oh, you're a liar or whatever. You know what I mean? Whatever the case may be.
So these people that are coming out and slandering and getting on posts and whatever, are they aware of the fact that he's a convicted rapist?
Of course, yeah.
Oh, okay. And they're still saying that you're a liar. Wow. Yeah.
I mean, what I've sort of learned the older I get is like, if someone doesn't like you, like all that is irrelevant. The facts are irrelevant. You understand? They're not gonna like you, so they're gonna say whatever.
I've seen that. I've seen that for myself. Yeah, 100%.
So with that, it's not really much you could do with that, you just let them do what they're doing.
So some people asking what this guy looks like. They obviously haven't seen the gram. So this is who we're talking about. His name is Chemis. All right. That's him. Yeah, I'll put it up a little bit longer. Your name's on it, but it's fine, sis, because you know. That's how he looks like most recently. There's other pictures on the gram.
Yeah, he used to have long dreads.
And there's an aspect of the story which your mum was trying to get on. She can't seem to connect. That she was going to tell. Are you able to share that?
Yeah, I think so. I think I haven't asked her because I sort of said to her before that, like, about her coming on, I just said to her, like, if you don't really want your business out like that, I understand. And she was like, well, we'll see, like, I'll go on it. But she said she was going to come on it anyway. So
she's been trying to get on to this evening, but she can't seem to get on. Just hold tight 1 minute and I'll see how she's getting on, sis.
Yeah, my mum is ride or die.
I can feel it.
Yeah, I mean, so now she wants to get on and say her piece. Don't know if she can get on. Hopefully she can. Doing my nails. I don't know if they got her yet. Let me see. Let me see the chat.
Yes, sis. So she's not able to get on. I'm going to resend the link. Hopefully she can.
Okay.
But she's also given permission for you to tell her side of her experience with this guy as well. Given that permission, yeah.
Yeah, so
let me try and resend her the link first.
Yeah.
And then we'll do that. It's just unbelievable. I mean, every time, you know, I won't tire of exposing these people because each story is so unique and so different, but it all amounts to the same thing. The world right now is just riddled with pedophiles, and definitely our community is. We're interested in making sure that we know who's walking amongst us. We know who we're marrying. You understand me? We know who we're bringing around our children. That's all we are doing here. That's all we've ever done here. It is up to victims themselves to go to the police, isn't it? People seem to think, sis, that I can go to the police and do that. Why haven't you brought any cases, Afua? Well, I'm not the victim, actually. You understand? Honestly, it's just like you said, if they don't like you, which, you know, when people say they don't like me, I say to them, oh, mother don't like me, so I don't really care.
They don't understand how difficult it is to even get a charge, like, for this type of stuff as well. Like, 50% of them don't even go jail. So
it's more than 50, sis. It's way more than 50%.
Okay, way more than that. There you go then. Yeah, I mean, and I learned that
0.8% of cases that do go to court, 0.8% end in a conviction.
Wow.
And only 1%, just over 1% of cases that are reported to the police are taken up by the CPS. Look at those figures. And people want to try and say what to us?
Yeah.
Where is the justice in that? It means that even if you do go to the police, you're going to get dragged through a whole procedure that ends in tears. 99% of the time.
Yeah.
That's what it is. And meanwhile, sis, your abuser oftentimes, especially in our community, is walking around at the family Christmas party or the family dinners. They are there. And there's nothing you can do about it. And they continue to abuse children within the family.
Yeah.
Where is the justice in that? That's my point, sis. You know? Yeah. This is why we do what we do, for those that don't understand it. And we've never, ever been able, those people that say that these women that come on this platform are lying, they've never been able to prove that. Do you understand? Right. But the evidence that we look at in the background that we're hoping will come to a case at some point in the future, or not, you know, sometimes it's not physical evidence like that. Sometimes it is the genealogy. It's the fact that this lady has clearly made noises about what's been going on for her, but she's never been able to get the justice, just like yourself, sis. In the courts, right? So people need to understand the pattern. That's what it is. I've sent the link one more time to Mum.
Okay, see if we get one. I think she's out and about. That's why. If she was at home, she could.
It's probably Wi-Fi. It could be. It's usually Wi-Fi when people can't get on. So it's usually that. But yes, it's just you're a big inspiration to a lot of people that don't feel able to speak out. Massive inspiration.
That's why I don't know. It kind of motivates me even more to be so vocal about it as well, because when it does happen, you do feel so alone. You don't know who's going to be standing with you. You don't know if other people could relate to it. So the more that I do speak out, other women that have actually experienced it, they can understand, like, yo, you're not alone with your thoughts and your feeling, how you feel about this situation. And I think there's been other women that have gone through it as well, but you can recover from it as well. You understand? You can. It takes time. It does take time. It took me some time, but you can move on. You can
Absolutely.
move on.
It doesn't look like Mummy's going to get on. So
okay.
Not only did this man molest you as a child, he's also molested of another child that you know of, and no doubt many more. And he's also raped other women, of which he's been convicted for one of them at least, right?
Yeah.
Tell us about what happened with your mum before he tried to molest you.
Okay, well, I didn't actually find out until he molested me that he had also raped my mum. So when I explained to you that somebody had come up the stairs and he got kind of shook and disappeared real quick, that was my mum there. And when she sort of had that nervous laugh, it was sort of like, I know, because he did it to me too. You know? So it wasn't until I got to my court case and stuff, I was having some struggling moments, and my mum had told me he'd done it to her as well. She'd explained she'd got a bump in her nose because she had told my stepdad at the time, but because she was in a domestic violence relationship with him, he actually punched her in her nose when she told him, because he was too pussy to sort of like, you know, like just confront his friend. So that was me.
So he was obviously scared of his friend for doing that. Imagine that your girlfriend comes and tells you that this guy has raped her, and you punch her in the face for it. I mean, my God.
But that's sort of, he was quite violent anyway. That was a normal behavior for him. Not to get too much into his behavior, because it's been years later now. It's like a decade later, but it did happen, and it did change a lot of things. It did split up the family. It did a lot of things. So I'll just say that. But my mum going through it as well. Obviously, who's gonna understand me more than my mum? Nobody. I don't feel like anybody's gonna get it more than my mum. That's why we're so close as well. I just got to shout her out as well, like even just sticking by me throughout the whole court case and stuff, because not everybody has that as well. Like say for instance, that I think someone else when they told their mum, I don't think they believed them and stuff. So I just feel very, very grateful to have a mum that stood by my side the whole time and stuff.
Blessed, definitely.
Yeah. Because
absolutely blessed for that. Because it isn't the norm, to be fair. Unfortunately, it's not the norm.
And it's a shame. That's a shame.
It's a shame. Across the board, you know, I was watching this film the other night, and it was about that kind of thing. It was a kind of African-American thing. And the little girl came to her mum bleeding after the man had done what he'd done to her. The boyfriend of the mother had done what he'd done to her. And she slapped the little girl in her face and was like, you're trying to mess up my stuff, you know, my chances. And it was disgusting. I thought, this is, you know, it's art imitating life. This is real. You know, this is what happens in so many different homes. And I just don't know how those women live with themselves. But, you know, a lot of it is denial and suppressed emotions and memory and all sorts of stuff. And it just expresses itself in the most heinous and dysfunctional ways. It really, really does. So a lot of these women, when you scratch the surface, it's about them not owning up to their own abuse, them not facing and confronting their own abuse. And that's why they are like that with their daughters, because it's in your face representation of what you know you don't want to look at. So, you know, the result is anger. A lot of that is what happens, sis. A lot of that is what happens. But to think that the man raped your mother and thought that he could come back and try to rape her young daughter.
Yeah, big
I mean,
disrespect.
a monster, an absolute monster.
And
Somebody
he
in the
really
chat
did,
was saying,
like,
you know, it was a long time ago. I don't want to hear that this man has served his time. It was a long time ago. Why
no,
is it that there is no understanding in this community over the fact that these people are unwell and they cannot stop?
yeah, exactly. They don't get that. That's
They
what
don't
I
get
think as well. They don't get it at all.
They really don't get it. You know, he's not going to stop. And I would say to the sister who's married to him, who knew that he'd gone through all of this. I mean, I think they want to split hairs and say, well, you know, he might be a rapist, but he didn't do it to a child. Really? Thin line, you know?
So, I just feel
line.
like I just feel like he just didn't get caught for it. That's all. Because there was a bag of women. He's been raping a bag of women. Do you know what I mean? And he has an answer for that.
That was a lucky shot, because for those people that have just joined, or those that maybe missed it a little bit, what happened is that he had raped somebody way back, and they had taken his, like in the 80s or something, right? And they had taken his DNA at the time, but it wasn't until, what year was it?
It was like 96. I don't know. Was it 96?
So around the 90s. It wasn't until sometime in the 90s that further developments in DNA caused him, that once he'd gone through some sort of traffic stop, it was a routine thing, wasn't it? And his DNA was collected, and it was a match to this historic crime. It was a lucky flip, really. It was lucky that he got caught for that rape. And there's always been whispers and closed disclosures, secret disclosures from other people to say what he's been doing. That was just, you know, that was a lucky flip.
Ouch.
It really was. What are you doing there, sis? Are you soldering something?
Yeah, it was diamante on the nails.
Ah, it's a nail thing, nail art.
Yeah, when you burnt my finger.
You youngers are really at it. Like, you guys really know how to do this thing. Seriously. Do you do nails?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, so that's your thing, right?
I just do it for my friends. I don't do it like nothing.
Grooming beauty regime of the younger generation, that they can just do things like
I
that.
mean, it's just cheaper if I do it myself. If I go to the shop, I'm paying like 55, 65 pounds, and I'd rather keep it in my pocket. So I don't know. Yeah.
Elaine Summers says, is he still in prison? I missed that part. He has to still be there. No, he only got 4 years, sis.
He's got 4 years, he's out.
Even though the police had originally, or not so much the police, but the Crown prosecution couldn't prove a case against him. In your case, there wasn't enough evidence. So they didn't have any DNA, and there wasn't enough evidence to convict in her case. But years later, when they found his DNA, or it was matched to a previous victim, they actually came to you and asked you to help them in the case that he went to court for, that he was convicted of. Isn't that crazy? What sort of a system do we live in whereby...
It's really crazy, because I didn't think, like, I just thought once my case is shut, it's just shut. But, like, it was really sort of like in the movies, where, like, how you see with this Epstein case and all these Harvey Weinstein, where more women start coming forward. Right. And a lot of people don't understand that. I mean, they just don't understand that women keep coming out and stuff, and like, oh, why didn't they come out years ago? Because it takes time. Like, it fucks with you psychologically and stuff. It takes time for you to even get through things enough for you to even build up the courage to even speak and stuff. So I feel like I need to, like, everybody always, they're quick to talk about celebrities and stuff, but they don't talk about the ones that are in our hoods, where we live.
Absolutely.
So I feel like we should be discussing that. I feel like there should be more women who have been through it. I mean, it would be nice. I can't tell them what to do, but if they don't want to do that, then I feel like I'm comfortable enough to be that woman to be able to speak about it and say, yeah, do you know what? You can pick up your life. You can get on with your life afterwards and rebuild back. Not always easy, but yeah.
Well, that's why I think this platform is so important. It's for voices like yourself, you know. And people go, oh, you know, these people think that, and those people don't agree with that. I don't care. I really actually don't care. I was saying to somebody today, I can't remember who, that I don't even go in the comments. I go in, I do go in. I go in periodically when I'm bored, when I'm in the mood for it, and I'll have a little twist with certain people, and then I'll just leave it alone. I don't have the time. I don't have the inclination to follow it up in the way that people expect on social media. So I'll just fling it out there and then get on with my life.
I even have people tell me like they didn't want me to do it. They didn't want me to do this either. But I feel like it's very difficult and hard for other people to sort of digest this type of stuff. So their initial like reaction is to sweep it under the carpet, and they don't even realize that they're doing it. It just makes them feel uncomfortable, so they don't want to talk about it, so they're pushing it under the carpet. And I'm just sort of like, no, I'm just gonna go on there and talk about it. Do you know what I mean? What's happened and whatever. And other people don't really understand it too much, but I feel like this was good timing for me personally. Like with other people sort of mocking it online or whatever it is. He's gone about his business, he's moved on, getting married, whatever, doing his thing and that. But at the same time, everybody knows everyone. Like that's the thing with this type of stuff. It just follows you everywhere. You never get away from it. Like because everybody else moves on and they do what they're doing, but you never get away with it because somebody always knows what's happened. Somebody knows somebody, and it's just always awkward. So then psychologically it's always there, if that makes sense. It's always there.
It's always awkward for the victim, but the guy gets to move on, like you said, get married, nobody says anything, and he's protected.
Yes, exactly.
It's crazy. I would urge that sister to protect her girl children, because there's a girl involved, isn't there? She's got a daughter.
Yeah, I think she's got a girl daughter. Yeah
2 kids.
I don't know, I don't even know.
Well, it's at least one that is a girl, we think. And that's so scary. That is so scary. You know, there isn't any evidence to say that you have a go at boys. But the point people have to understand is that when a paedophile is aroused, even though his preference might be a little girl, you know, it's about opportunity and power for them. So they they invariably sometimes abuse a boy child. It happens. It might not be something they do regularly. When the opportunity presents itself for them to abuse a child, they'll go forward. You know?
I definitely felt like he was just trying to assert his power over me in a sense of like you see what I was saying? Like I was thinking to myself, like, wow, you really got liberties, and to later then find out that he'd done the same to my mum. Like, okay, cool, you really just out here trying to break women down. That's what you're trying to do.
Right.
Yeah, because you're not only doing it to them, you're going through the generations and doing it. Like just no respect at all. You know what I mean? And you know what the crazy thing about it is, my godmother, even though she stood up for him in court, she ended up getting cancer, and he left her. You know, so went about his business.
Wow.
See, life. I would say that's a big karma in itself. That's right. That's how I feel about it.
It's karma for her, but it also illustrates what a disgusting piece of lowlife he actually is. You know, this is the woman that stood up for you in your debauchery, and you leave her in her darkest hour. Some might say good for her. I probably would. But that is disgusting.
She must feel like shit. I know she must feel like shit.
Controlled or whatever it was, or she was just a wicked woman. Nobody really deserves that, do they?
Crazy.
Somebody says you can report him to the borough if you know where he lives. I don't think that's going to make much difference, Elabe, really, unless he works for the borough. But yeah, I don't think that. Look, I think the time of you getting structured justice has probably passed, hasn't it?
Yes.
Well and truly passed, and you've accepted that, which is good. You've been through therapy. You're comfortable in your own skin. You know, you're a survivor. That's what you are. But at the same time, I remember you saying to me, you know, I just want to make sure that there isn't any other children that he's done that to out here. And if you were a child in that era or whatever era this man was operating in, and you've been through what Serena's been through, please hit us up. Please get to a point where this sister is at, because this man shouldn't be allowed to get away with it, you know. And if there is enough people that come forward, as I always say, they can reopen a case because it's new evidence. You know, they can actually do that. Without new evidence, they can't. So the old cases will just fall by the wayside.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what it is. So I'm going to put the link out if anyone wants to jump on, make a comment. Thank you, sis. Thank you. So inspirational, honestly. And for a young person as well. I say young, I know you're a grown woman. I'm not trying to patronize you, but anyone who's around my children's age is a young person for me.
I get it. But thank you as well. Like, I love the work that you're doing.
Thank you, sis.
People irritate me, to be honest. Like, because there's not enough of you, if that makes sense. There's not enough people doing your job, but they will come at you before they ever go at the rapist. And it irks me, innit? It's knowing that what I've been through and stuff, it just irks me because I'm just sort of like, well, who's talking for us?
This is what they fail to understand, that they may have their opinions and whatever, but we speak for the victims, we speak for the people that have been through it, and we don't really much care what they think, because actually they've never really cared about the victims either, have they? So that's what we're about. That's our concept. If ever there was a mission statement written up, it would be like, we care about them, not you. It's as simple as that is. Actually, don't do your business. Yeah, it used to irk me, and sometimes I get irked and whatever, and I say my piece. But ultimately, you know, once I switch off the computer and fling down my phone, I actually couldn't give two shits.
Yeah, what's going on?
I think. Unfortunately, some people are caught up in social media because that's all they've got. They've got nothing going on in their lives, right? You know, there's no other gig for them. So,
that weirdo chick still calling me, actually. I'll tell you about that later. But yeah.
Okay, so somebody said earlier on, who's Sherelle in the chats? And I was going to ignore it, but could it be the same Sherelle?
Yeah, probably.
Be in the chats tonight? It could be. Honestly, I've been stalked this week, people. You might have seen it. I was going to say about it.
She called me again as well just before we jumped on the live and that, and she was like, if I see you, I'm gonna fuck you up. That's what she said, didn't it?
All right, so people don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So there's a sister that's been stalking my page, definitely. There's a whole story behind that. Keats is coming on. Oh, okay.
Sorry, I got my camera off.
Keats. What's up?
Hey.
What's up, sis?
I don't normally jump on, but I felt like I had to today. So Sabrina, first of all, I just want to say thank you, sis, for coming on, because the more people like you that come on, the more you're speaking out normal, and it has to be normalized now.
Thank
you. To do with keeping this stuff hidden.
I agree.
To defend people, whether it's because of the shame people carry themselves, whatever that may be. And I think we've kind of adapted these labels of being strong and being survivors. But the point is, we shouldn't have to be those things. And especially as a child, when you're 11 years old, you shouldn't be making decisions about how do I deal with this, what am I going to do, how do I even express or articulate what has happened to me. So I just wanted to say thank you for coming on, and I'm sure you will inspire other people. And like I said, the more people that speak up, the more this becomes normal, and hopefully it encourages the next generation to act. They don't get a chance to do it to anybody.
Thank you.
Brilliant. Thanks, sis. Thanks for that. What's up, sis? Oh, brilliant. That's a lovely note to end things on, my sister, I think, unless anybody else wants to jump on. But yeah, this sister here, she's got mental health issues. I was going to mention this, and I just thought, you know what? She ain't well. She's seriously unwell, so it's no point, really. It's no point going into it. It's very harmful what she does.
Yeah.
She persists. I may have to call it out, but I'm kind of loath to be fair, because I recognize that there is deep mental health issues going on there. Whether she wants to admit that or not.
I think you noticed that from the beginning anyway. I think that's why.
That's her beef with me, to be fair. But
yeah,
if she's in the chats, jump on. Or maybe not, actually. That would be a bit of a drama.
Oh, God, she'll be doing the most.
No, we'll be here until the morning. Yeah, I just hope, sister. I blocked her already, and I'm sorry that she's putting you through what she's putting you through. So sister's been stalking the same sister, and it's just coincidence that it's the same person. I was like, whoa, the world is small, because we've been talking about your case prior to that getting mentioned, right? And then we realized that person who's on my page is also somebody who's known to this sister personally, known to this sister. I've never met the woman. She dropped my address online.
She dropped my address online on like a few days ago, and it's just been going from there. Like, obviously, I've just been cussing her out ever since, because it's like, why are you even doing that, innit? Dropping my address and all these things, and she's trying to threaten me.
Just getting an injury as well, so you don't need all of that.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, I don't need none. I don't need none of it, to be honest. And it's just like, just got no consideration because she doesn't have her children. So,
right.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean,
well, you know what, sis? Like I said, let's not even get into that, because if she was legitimate in any way, she'd be here speaking with us and explaining herself, and they never usually come on. I just see her as a troll. I've never met her. I don't know her from anywhere. Paula Smith says, I noticed your stalker has a few followers that follow you. Yeah, that's inevitable. Some of those people will be there to keep an eye on her, and others will be there because they're not really true followers. They just watch my page and follow so that they can get a pass. We're not worried about them. And like I said, going forward in 2023, we want to focus on the works. That's what we want to do. So, sis, thank you so much for coming on, my sister, and being so brave as well, being so assertive and surviving, and just being fabulous.
Thank you.
Sister, thank you
for your time. Thank you for your time, giving me the platform.
To us, because we weren't aware of him. We really weren't.
And he's done it to a lot. It's not even just like a handful of women. He's done it to a lot of women, a lot of children. But he only got caught for the one woman. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, I think that it should be put on blast. I think all these types of men, they should be consistently put on blast as well. Because just because you did it way back in the day, it doesn't mean you get to put your feet up and everybody forgets about it. No, because you've still traumatized God knows how many women from way back and stuff. So I feel like they should have the opportunity to say something. Me personally, boy, anyway, I'll probably kick him over if I see him. He's old now anyway.
Because it's been mentioned, like people started to talk about it in the chats. I don't really want to go into this Sherelle woman, tonight. Like, it's long.
Oh, is someone else asking about her?
Sorry?
Is people asking about her in the comments?
People seem aware of her as well. Yeah, that she's quite on. Well, she is, bless her. She is. I don't take offense at anything that she's doing, because I know that she's not well, honestly. Yeah. And if you've just got to spend 5 minutes with a discerning mind in that person's company to see that they
That's how I've tried to deal with her, though. But that's how I feel like it. I've always given her the benefit of the doubt because she's not well. At the same time, you're dropping my address online and them things there.
Yeah, and she does a lot of very, very harmful things, and it's
it's like she knows what she's doing. She's not
quite plausible, to be fair.
Yeah, she knows what she's doing.
Yeah. There's a kind of streak of psychopath in there. I think she's able to make that switch quite easily, and that's quite concerning for me.
Yeah.
But anyway, less said. Sis, have a wonderful Christmas and an excellent New Year, my sister. Whatever you do, and keep on burning that fire. Keep on being that inspiration for other women as well. We got to do it in our own spaces, wherever we are, whatever we do. And I think that you're an excellent beacon for all of that, my sister. Thank you.
Thank you.
Blessed love, sis. We'll talk off air. All right, my love.
Okay.
Take care. Bye-bye. Oh, isn't she beautiful? What a lovely sister. What a lovely, lovely, well-rounded sister. She's gorgeous. So yes, there you have it. Peter Dutty Chemis, wherever you are hiding. Apparently he's sort of been, on a low profile for many, many years. And his brother as well. Yeah, we were told about his brother quite recently that he's quite prolific. He's currently serving time, isn't he? for the same thing. I mean, what happened in that family? What happened in that family? We're going to continue to expose these people in 2023, my people. The link is out there if you want it. If you don't, then it's all good as well, because I really need to jump off at this juncture. Do you know what as well? All of those who donated to the coach, we didn't quite make the march to get a coach, but we did get you know, some donations from people that wanted to help with that. That will be reserved for if we do need a coach going forward. And if we don't need a coach going forward, then it will go into the coffers like all the other donations for the March coming in 2023. But his time is up March 2023, which I wasn't sure if we were going to do. But every time I do this thing, people say, Afua, you cannot stop. You have to keep on doing it. So I will. And that's it, really. Let's look at some of these comments. I haven't looked in it for a while. Carla Preddy says she's mentally ill. Ignore her. Yeah, I think so as well. I could put it. What is it? What's this term? Put her on blast. Is that it? I could really, but I won't. I won't. She needs to just chill. But yeah, that was an inspiration. My brothers and sisters, I hope whatever you do, whether you celebrate or you don't celebrate it, enjoy the break. Be with your family. Time to draw in, reflect on the year ahead, because we're coming up to some very bumpy times in terms of the world stage or globally. But that's another story, as I say, for another day. But yeah, there's some interesting things going to be happening in 2023. It is going to be a very interesting year, my brothers and sisters. It has been wonderful to sit here with you guys for 2 years. 2 years in November. What a journey. And we are going to bring this thing to its conclusion. In fact, there's never going to be a conclusion, but we are going to bring this thing to legacy. I think that's the best way of describing it. We're going to bring this thing to legacy, and we're going to make those moves in the new year. Everything is in place. So I will bid you all farewell and good night, and hope that you have an excellent weekend and an even better Christmas. Look out for us. I'm just looking to see when the first Friday. So the first Friday in January is the 6th of January. So we will be back here at the same time, 10 p.m. On the 6th of January, 2023. And I'll be praying for all of you on watch night. Thank you, my brothers and sisters. Keep it up. Keep your stories coming. Keep up the fight. Doesn't care what, it doesn't matter what people say. Doesn't matter to us, and it shouldn't matter to you, because you guys that support this movement know what it's about. And this sister here is why we do what we do. Not just because of her story, but because of her healing. She's a great example of why we do what we do. Blessed love, my people, and let's look forward to 2023. Blessed love. Take care now.